Welcome to Audiobook segment. Every story you'll hear is crafted from the ground up, written, produced, and narrated entirely by us. Nothing recycled, nothing repurposed, just original work made for this channel. So grab your headphones, settle in, and enjoy today's audiobook. Welcome to this audiobook. Today, you're about to discover practical strategies to maintain calm, avoid unnecessary anger, and remain unbothered by anyone or anything around you. Life often throws challenges, difficult people, and stressful situations your way, but the power to respond with control lies entirely within your mind. Before we dive in, take a deep breath and imagine yourself as a person who is calm in every situation. Someone whose peace cannot be shaken, whose mind remains clear, and whose reactions are always intentional. This audiobook will guide you step by step toward achieving that state. Throughout this journey, you will learn how to observe your emotions, understand triggers, and build habits that prevent anger or irritation from taking over. You'll discover tools for redirecting negative energy, managing stressful interactions, and cultivating inner peace. By the end, you will have a framework for maintaining composure, no matter what life throws at you. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future audiobooks that will help you strengthen your mind, emotions, and overall life skills. This audiobook is designed to be simple, practical, and actionable, so you can start applying these techniques immediately. Now, let's begin the journey toward mastering your mind, staying calm, and learning how to never get angry or bothered by anyone. Chapter 1: Understanding Anger and Why We React. Anger is a natural human emotion, but most people let it control their thoughts and actions instead of managing it consciously. The first step to never getting angry or bothered by anyone is understanding what anger really is and why it happens. Anger is usually triggered when something feels unfair, frustrating, or threatening. It is your mind and body reacting automatically to a situation. When you notice yourself feeling angry, it is not just the situation that's causing it, it's your interpretation of the situation. Two people can face the same problem, but one gets angry and the other stays calm. The difference is in how they think about it. Your mind often reacts before your conscious brain has a chance to think. For example, if someone insults you, your first instinct might be to feel hurt, annoyed, or even lash back. This automatic reaction is normal, but it doesn't mean you have to act on it. Recognizing that anger is a signal, not a command, gives you the power to respond differently. Emotions like anger often stem from expectations. You expect others to behave in a certain way, or you expect life to be fair, and when reality doesn't match your expectations, irritation arises. Learning to adjust expectations is a crucial step in reducing anger. The more flexible your mind is, the less often it gets triggered. Stress and fatigue amplify anger. When your mind is tired or overwhelmed, small annoyances feel much bigger than they actually are. That is why managing your energy, sleep, and daily stress is part of learning to stay unbothered. A calm mind has a higher threshold for irritation and can respond with clarity rather than reaction. Another important factor is self-awareness. Many people don't realize what situations trigger their anger or how their thoughts escalate feelings. By observing yourself, you start noticing patterns. Maybe certain words, behaviors, or situations almost always make you angry. Awareness is the first step toward control. Consider the idea of choice. Feeling angry is automatic, but reacting with anger is always a choice. Even if someone provokes you, you can choose to remain calm. Choosing calmness does not mean ignoring injustice or allowing people to mistreat you. It means responding in a way that preserves your peace and effectiveness. Visualization can help. Imagine yourself in a situation that usually triggers anger. See yourself taking a deep breath, observing your thoughts, and responding calmly. The more you practice this mentally, the easier it becomes in real life. Your brain starts building a pathway for calm responses rather than automatic anger. Affirmations strengthen this practice. Statements like "I remain calm in every situation," "I choose peace over anger," or "Nothing can disturb my inner balance," train your mind to default to calm thinking. Repetition creates automatic mental habits, reducing the likelihood of being bothered by anyone. Understanding anger also involves recognizing that external events are not inherently good or bad, they are neutral. It is your judgment that assigns value and triggers emotional responses. By training your mind to see situations neutrally, you reduce unnecessary emotional reactions and maintain control over your thoughts. Physical practices can support emotional control. Deep breathing, posture awareness, and relaxation techniques calm the nervous system, making it easier to observe thoughts and choose responses intentionally. When the body is calm, the mind follows. Finally, patience with yourself is important. Learning to never get angry or bothered by anyone is a gradual process. You will still feel anger at times, and that's normal. The key is noticing it, understanding it, and choosing a response that aligns with calmness and self-control, rather than letting emotion take over. By understanding anger, recognizing triggers, observing your thoughts, adjusting expectations, practicing visualization and affirmations, and maintaining physical calmness, you begin to build a foundation for mastering your reactions. This awareness is the first step toward a life where your mind remains unshaken, no matter the situation or the people around you. Chapter 2. Recognizing triggers and rewiring your responses. To never get angry or bothered by anyone, you first need to understand what triggers your emotions. Triggers are situations, words, or behaviors that push your buttons and provoke strong reactions. Everyone has different triggers, and identifying them is the first step in gaining control over your emotional responses. Triggers often arise from personal experiences, beliefs, and past conditioning. For example, someone who grew up in a critical environment might get offended or angry more easily when others point out mistakes. Recognizing the connection between past experiences and present reactions allows you to break automatic patterns. Start by observing yourself throughout the day. Notice when irritation or frustration arises. What was said? What behavior occurred? How did your body feel? Did your thoughts escalate the emotion? Writing down these observations helps create awareness and begins the process of change. Once triggers are recognized, you can begin to rewire your responses. Rewiring does not mean ignoring the situation or pretending nothing happened. It means responding intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. The goal is to maintain calm and protect your mental peace, even when provoked. Consider a common trigger: criticism. Many people immediately feel defensive or angry when criticized. By pausing and reminding yourself that the criticism is information rather than an attack, you create space to respond calmly. You might choose to listen, reflect, or simply remain silent without letting anger dominate your thoughts. Visualization helps in rewiring responses. Imagine a situation that usually triggers anger and practice responding calmly in your mind. See yourself breathing deeply, observing your thoughts, and choosing a composed reaction. Repeating this exercise strengthens neural pathways for calm behavior, making it easier to act with control in real situations. Affirmations reinforce new responses. Statements like "I remain calm no matter what happens," "I control my reactions, not my triggers," or "I am unshaken by others' behavior" train your subconscious mind to default to calmness. Repeating these affirmations daily strengthens your ability to respond intentionally rather than react automatically. Body awareness plays a crucial role. Emotions like anger often manifest physically. Tight shoulders, rapid heartbeat, clenched fists, or tense muscles. Recognizing these physical signs allows you to intervene early, taking deep breaths or relaxing muscles before thoughts escalate. Physical calmness supports mental calmness. Mindfulness is another powerful tool. By staying present, you prevent your mind from ruminating on past offenses or anticipating future problems. When a trigger occurs, Observe the sensation and thought process without judgment. Notice the emotion, acknowledge it, and choose your response intentionally. Over time, this practice reduces the power of triggers to upset your peace. Perspective shifts are key. Often, anger arises from taking things personally. Remember that people act based on their own experiences, beliefs, and moods. Their words or behavior reflect them, not you. Understanding this separation reduces emotional reactivity and allows you to maintain calm even when faced with provocation. Consider Sarah, who often felt irritated by co-workers' comments. By identifying her triggers, practicing mindful breathing, and repeating affirmations, she gradually stopped reacting with frustration. Over months, she noticed she remained composed in situations that used to anger her, and her thoughts became more constructive rather than reactive. Consistency builds mastery. Rewiring responses requires repeated practice. Each time you notice a trigger and choose calmness, you reinforce neural pathways that support intentional thought. Over time, responding calmly becomes automatic, reducing emotional volatility and increasing inner peace. Journaling supports progress. Write about triggering situations, your responses, and lessons learned. Reflect on what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve next time. Journaling strengthens awareness and reinforces constructive thought patterns. Ultimately, recognizing triggers and rewiring your responses gives you the power to stay calm and unbothered. You cannot control others' actions, but you can control your reactions. By observing, practicing, and reinforcing calm behavior, you train your mind to respond with clarity, patience, and intentionality, no matter the situation. Chapter 3. The power of pause before reacting. One of the most important skills in never getting angry or bothered is learning to pause before reacting. Most people react instantly when provoked, letting their emotions control their behavior. This automatic reaction often leads to regret, conflict, or stress. Pausing gives you the power to respond intentionally and calmly. The pause works because it separates the emotional reaction from conscious choice. When something triggers anger, your mind usually jumps into automatic thoughts like, "This is unfair," or "I can't believe they did that." These thoughts fuel the emotion and push you toward reactive behavior. Pausing interrupts this automatic pattern. Even a few seconds of pause can change your entire response. Taking a deep breath, counting to 10, or briefly stepping back allows your mind to observe the situation objectively. During this short pause, you gain clarity, reduce emotional intensity, and choose the most constructive response. Consider someone cutting you off in traffic. Most people immediately honk, yell, or feel enraged. Instead, you can pause, recognize the surge of anger, and remind yourself that reacting angrily won't help. Maybe the person didn't see you, or maybe they are in a rush. The pause gives you the option to continue calmly without letting anger take over. Visualization strengthens this skill. Practice imagining scenarios where you usually lose your temper. See yourself noticing the trigger, taking a pause, and responding with calm and patience. Mental rehearsal prepares your brain to apply the same control in real-life situations. Affirmations reinforce the pause. Statements like, "I choose calmness before I act," "I am in control of my reactions," or "I respond intentionally, not emotionally," train your mind to default to deliberate thinking instead of impulsive anger. Repetition helps make pausing automatic. Mindfulness complements the pause. Being aware of your thoughts and emotions as they arise allows you to intervene before they escalate. Notice the sensation of anger in your body, racing heart, tense muscles, or shallow breathing, and use these signals as reminders to pause and redirect your response. Self-talk is a critical part of using the pause effectively. Internal dialogue such as, "This is temporary," "I can handle this calmly," or "I don't need to react right now," reinforces your ability to maintain control. The words you say to yourself shape your emotional experience and guide your actions. Patience is essential. Initially, Pausing may feel unnatural because your mind is used to immediate reaction. With practice, however, the pause becomes a habit, and your emotional responses gradually become more controlled and less reactive. Physical techniques support the pause. Slow, deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or subtly changing posture can help regulate the body's stress response. When your body is calmer, your mind finds it easier to maintain composure and think clearly. Consider Mia, who often lost her temper with family members during minor disagreements. She started practicing a simple pause, noticing her rising anger, taking a deep breath, and counting to 10 silently. Over time, her reactions shifted from outbursts to calm conversations, and her thoughts became less dominated by frustration and resentment. Consistency builds mastery. Each time you use the pause, you strengthen the neural pathways that enable deliberate thought and controlled emotional responses. Over weeks and months, pausing becomes a natural habit, reducing unnecessary anger and helping you remain unbothered by others. Finally, remember that the pause is not about suppression. You are not ignoring or denying your emotions. You are simply creating a space between stimulus and response, allowing your mind to choose the most constructive action. This skill empowers you to maintain inner peace, handle challenging situations gracefully, and prevent anger from controlling your life. By practicing the power of pause, combining mindfulness, visualization, affirmations, self-talk, and physical calmness, you build a foundation for emotional mastery. This skill allows you to remain composed, unshaken, and in control of your thoughts, no matter what anyone else does or says. Chapter 4. Detaching yourself from others' opinions. One of the biggest sources of anger and irritation comes from caring too much about what other people think. Opinions, judgments, and criticism often trigger negative emotions because we attach our self-worth or peace to them. Learning to detach yourself from others' opinions is key to never getting angry or bothered. People naturally seek validation and approval, but excessive dependence on others' views makes you vulnerable. When someone says something negative or acts in a way you dislike, you feel insulted, frustrated, or angry. This reaction occurs because you have allowed external opinions to influence your internal state. The first step is understanding that everyone sees the world through their own experiences, beliefs, and biases. Their thoughts are reflections of themselves, not absolute truths about you. Realizing this creates mental distance, reducing the emotional impact of their words or actions. Consider the idea of a filter. Not everything people say deserves your attention or emotional energy. Filter out comments that are irrelevant, unhelpful, or merely reflective of someone else's mood. By choosing which opinions to internalize, you maintain control over your mental state and reduce unnecessary anger. Visualization can reinforce detachment. Imagine yourself in a situation where someone criticizes or irritates you. Picture the words passing by, like clouds, without sticking or affecting your emotions. Over time, your mind begins to automatically process others' opinions neutrally, preventing reactive anger or frustration. Affirmations support this practice. Statements like, "Other people's opinions do not control me," "I remain calm regardless of what others think," or "I choose my own peace over external judgment," strengthen mental boundaries. Repeating these affirmations daily trains your subconscious to detach from external influence. Mindfulness helps you recognize when you are affected by others' thoughts. Notice the physical and emotional sensations that arise when you hear criticism or judgment. Observing without reacting allows you to choose whether to engage mentally or let it pass. Awareness creates freedom from automatic emotional responses. Consider Alex, who used to feel angry and defensive whenever a coworker criticized his work. By practicing detachment, he started seeing these comments as information rather than personal attacks. He listened objectively, accepted constructive feedback, and ignored unnecessary negativity. Over time, his thoughts became calmer, and he was no longer emotionally disturbed by others' opinions. Detachment does not mean indifference. You can still evaluate others' input objectively, learn where needed, and make improvements without letting emotions take control. Separating judgment from personal worth allows you to respond effectively while staying unbothered. Physical techniques support emotional detachment. Maintaining relaxed posture, slow breathing, or a calm facial expression prevents physiological arousal that fuels anger. When your body signals calmness, your mind follows naturally. Consistency builds resilience. The more you practice detachment, the more automatic it becomes. You start noticing yourself remaining composed in situations that would have triggered anger in the past. Your thoughts remain intentional, and your peace becomes your default state rather than being influenced by external circumstances. Self-compassion reinforces detachment. Remember that everyone makes mistakes, including yourself. Extend the same understanding you give to others inwardly, reducing emotional reactivity and creating mental stability. Ultimately, detaching yourself from others' opinions empowers you to maintain control over your thoughts and emotions. You realize that your peace is independent of what others say or do. By integrating mindfulness, visualization, affirmations, self-compassion, and consistent practice, you build a mental framework where external judgments cannot disturb your inner calm. This practice creates freedom, reduces unnecessary anger, and allows you to focus your energy on what truly matters, your own actions, growth, and mindset. When you master detachment, you are no longer a prisoner of others' words, and your thoughts remain peaceful, clear, and unshaken. Chapter 5. Controlling your thoughts. To control your emotions. Your emotions are shaped by your thoughts. Anger and frustration don't arise out of nowhere. They grow from the way you interpret events, people, and situations. Learning to control your thoughts is the key to controlling your emotions and never getting angry or bothered by anyone. Most people believe that external events cause their emotions. If someone is rude, unfair, or disrespectful, it automatically makes them angry. In reality, it's not the event itself, but your interpretation that fuels the emotional reaction. Changing your thoughts changes your feelings, and that change empowers you. Start by observing your internal dialogue. Notice the automatic thoughts that occur when something frustrates or angers you. Thoughts like, "They shouldn't treat me this way," "This is unfair," or "I can't stand this," intensify emotional reactions. Recognizing these thoughts allows you to intervene and redirect them. Reframing is a powerful technique. Instead of interpreting a rude comment as a personal attack, view it as a reflection of the other person's state of mind. Perhaps they are stressed, frustrated, or having a bad day. Reframing reduces emotional charge, allowing you to respond calmly rather than react impulsively. Visualization strengthens thought control. Imagine challenging situations and practice changing your thoughts before emotions escalate. See yourself thinking clearly, staying composed, and responding intentionally. The more you rehearse this mentally, the easier it becomes in real life. Affirmations reinforce mental control. Phrases like, "I choose my thoughts carefully," "I remain calm no matter what happens," or "My mind is my ally, not my enemy," train the subconscious to prioritize constructive thinking. Repetition solidifies these thought patterns and reduces emotional reactivity. Consider Mark, who often became frustrated with colleagues who interrupted or criticized him. By observing his thoughts, reframing situations, and using affirmations, he gradually stopped reacting automatically. Instead of anger, he experienced curiosity, understanding, and patience. His thoughts guided his emotions rather than the other way around. Mindfulness supports thought control. By staying present, you notice thoughts as they arise without automatically believing or acting on them. Observing mental patterns prevents negative spirals and gives you the power to choose thoughts that align with calmness and composure. Physical awareness also assists in controlling emotions. Anger often shows up as tension in muscles, shallow breathing, or rapid heart rate. By noticing these signs early, you can employ relaxation techniques, deep breathing, progressive muscle release, or posture adjustment to calm your body and in turn your mind. Journaling is another effective tool. Writing down your thoughts during triggering situations helps you identify patterns, analyze interpretations, and practice reframing. Reviewing past experiences allows you to see progress, reinforcing your ability to manage thoughts and emotions effectively. Consistency is critical. Thought control is not a one-time effort. Daily practice, reflection, and reinforcement gradually strengthen neural pathways that support calm, intentional thinking. Over time, responding with patience and clarity becomes natural, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger. Self-compassion is an essential element. Accept that your mind will wander, and sometimes emotions will arise unexpectedly. Treat yourself kindly, observe your reactions, and redirect your thoughts without judgment. Compassion strengthens resilience and maintains emotional stability. Ultimately, controlling your thoughts gives you freedom from being ruled by others or external events. By observing, reframing, visualizing, affirming, journaling, and practicing mindfulness, you create a mental environment where calmness, composure, and peace dominate. When your thoughts are intentional, your emotions follow. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, rude comments, or stressful interactions. Instead, you remain unbothered, focused, and composed, guiding your emotions toward balance and mastery. Chapter 6. Practicing mindfulness to stay unshaken. Mindfulness is one of the most effective tools to prevent anger and maintain inner peace. It is the practice of being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. When you master mindfulness, you gain control over your reactions and stop being easily bothered by anyone. Most people live on autopilot, reacting automatically to situations and people. When someone provokes them, their mind immediately jumps to judgment, resentment, or anger. Mindfulness interrupts this automatic pattern by creating awareness. When you notice your reaction before it escalates, you can choose to respond calmly. Start with small practices. Spend a few minutes each day focusing on your breathing. Notice the sensation of air moving in and out. Observe your thoughts as they arise without trying to change them. Simply acknowledging them allows you to detach from automatic emotional reactions. Consider the example of someone cutting in line. Instead of reacting with irritation, a mindful person observes their initial frustration, notices the physical signs of tension, and chooses to remain calm. They might take a deep breath or remind themselves that this moment does not have to affect their inner peace. Visualization strengthens mindfulness. Imagine a situation that usually triggers anger. Picture yourself noticing your rising emotion, taking a breath, and observing the thoughts without judgment. Mentally rehearsing this scenario helps your brain create new pathways for calm, intentional responses in real life. Affirmations support mindfulness practice. Statements like "I observe my thoughts without judgment," "I remain present and calm," or "I am aware of my emotions, but not controlled by them," reinforce the habit of conscious observation. Repeating these affirmations trains your mind to default to mindful awareness. Mindfulness also involves body awareness. Anger manifests physically: tight muscles, shallow breathing, or increased heart rate. By noticing these physical signs early, you can intervene with relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, stretching, or consciously releasing tension. A calm body supports a calm mind. Journaling enhances mindfulness. Write about situations that triggered anger and reflect on how you responded. Consider what thoughts arose and how you might approach similar situations mindfully in the future. This reflection builds awareness, reinforces mental clarity, and strengthens emotional control. Regular mindfulness practice reduces emotional reactivity. Over time, you will notice yourself remaining composed in situations that previously caused frustration. Your thoughts become clearer and your mind more focused. You start responding intentionally rather than reacting automatically. Self-compassion complements mindfulness. Accept that you will sometimes feel anger or irritation and avoid judging yourself for it. Mindfulness is about noticing emotions without being controlled by them, not about eliminating feelings entirely. Treat yourself kindly as you practice observing your reactions. Consistency is key. Integrate mindfulness into daily routines, during meals, walks, conversations, or moments of stress. The more consistently you practice, the stronger your ability to stay calm and unshaken becomes. Mindfulness eventually becomes a natural state, reducing the likelihood of anger or frustration controlling your life. Ultimately, mindfulness empowers you to observe your internal world without being overwhelmed by external circumstances. By practicing presence awareness, body observation, visualization, affirmations, journaling, and self-compassion, you develop a mind capable of maintaining calm in any situation. When you cultivate mindfulness, anger loses its grip and you are no longer easily bothered by others. You gain the freedom to choose your responses, preserve your peace, and navigate life with clarity, control, and intentionality. Chapter 7. Building emotional boundaries. One of the most important strategies to never get angry or bothered by anyone is creating emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are invisible limits that protect your inner peace from being disturbed by others' words, actions, or moods. When your mind is well protected, you are less likely to react impulsively or feel frustrated. Many people do not realize how easily they allow external influences to affect their emotions. A friend's criticism, a colleague's rudeness, or even a stranger's impatience can trigger anger if your boundaries are weak. Strong boundaries create mental space that helps you stay calm and unbothered. The first step in building boundaries is recognizing where your emotions are being affected by others. Notice the situations where anger, irritation, or resentment arises. Ask yourself whether these feelings come from the situation itself or from your attachment to it. Awareness is the first layer of protection. Once you identify vulnerable areas, consciously establish limits. Remind yourself that you are not responsible for other people's behavior, and their actions do not define your peace. By mentally separating yourself from negative energy, you reduce its power over your thoughts and emotions. Visualization helps strengthen emotional boundaries. Imagine a protective bubble surrounding you, keeping your calm intact. See negativity, criticism, or provocation bouncing off this barrier without disturbing your inner peace. Mental rehearsal reinforces your ability to maintain composure in real situations. Affirmations reinforce boundaries. Statements like "I protect my peace," "other people's negativity does not affect me," or "I remain calm regardless of external behavior," train the mind to uphold limits. Repetition embeds this protective habit in your subconscious. Physical awareness supports boundaries. When tension or irritation begins, pause and notice physical sensations. Taking a deep breath, relaxing muscles, or stepping back from the situation creates space and prevents emotional escalation. The body often signals when boundaries are being crossed before the mind fully recognizes it. Consider communication as part of boundary setting. Calmly expressing limits or removing yourself from harmful interactions reinforces emotional control. You do not have to react aggressively or angrily. Simply maintaining your calm and stating your position firmly preserves your peace. Mindfulness strengthens boundaries. Observe your thoughts and emotions as they arise without acting impulsively. Notice when your mental space feels invaded and gently redirect focus to your inner stability. Mindful awareness ensures that boundaries are respected internally and externally. Consistency in maintaining boundaries is crucial. Each time you uphold your limits, you strengthen your capacity to remain unbothered. Over time, interactions that used to provoke anger or frustration have little effect as your mind becomes accustomed to protecting its calm. Self-compassion is essential when practicing boundaries. You may feel guilt or worry about disappointing others. Remind yourself that prioritizing your mental well-being is not selfish. It is necessary for clarity, balance, and long-term resilience. Ultimately, emotional boundaries are your mental shield. By observing your reactions, creating limits, visualizing protection, using affirmations, practicing mindfulness, maintaining physical awareness, and applying self-compassion, you build a mind capable of remaining calm, composed, and unshaken by anyone. Strong emotional boundaries ensure that anger and frustration no longer dominate your thoughts. You gain the freedom to interact with others without losing peace, handle challenging situations with clarity, and navigate life with confidence and intentionality. Chapter 8. Letting go of control and accepting reality. A major cause of anger and frustration is the desire to control everything and everyone around us. When reality does not align with our expectations, we feel upset, annoyed, or angry. Learning to let go of control and accept reality as it is plays a crucial role in staying calm and unbothered. Many people believe that they can control others' actions, words, or moods. This belief leads to disappointment and irritation because people do not always act as we want them to. Accepting that control is limited allows you to redirect your energy toward what you can influence: your thoughts, reactions, and behavior. Start by noticing situations where you try to control outcomes or others. Ask yourself if your attempts are necessary or realistic. Recognizing the limits of your control reduces frustration and opens the door to peace. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means focusing on what is within your power and releasing what is not. Visualizations can strengthen acceptance. Imagine a scenario where something does not go as planned or someone behaves unfairly. Picture yourself observing the situation calmly, accepting it as it is, and responding intentionally. Mentally rehearsing acceptance trains your brain to react with composure in real life. Affirmations help reinforce this mindset. Statements like "I accept what I cannot change," "I focus on what I can control," or "I release the need to control others," train your mind to prioritize peace over frustration. Repetition makes acceptance a default response rather than a struggle. Mindfulness aids in releasing control. By staying present, you observe reality without judgment. Instead of imagining worst-case scenarios or replaying events in your mind, you focus on the current moment and your intentional response. This awareness prevents unnecessary anger from building. Consider physical practices to support mental acceptance. Deep breathing, stretching, or grounding exercises help release tension caused by the illusion of control. When your body is relaxed, your mind can more easily accept situations without resistance. Detachment also plays a role. Mentally separating yourself from outcomes and other people's actions allows you to remain calm. You acknowledge events without letting them dictate your emotional state. This detachment reduces anger and increases resilience. Self-compassion strengthens acceptance. Understand that it is natural to feel frustration or irritation. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment and guide yourself back to calm. Acceptance is not about denying feelings, but about choosing how to respond intentionally. Journaling helps internalize this practice. Write about situations where you felt the need to control outcomes, analyze your thoughts, and reflect on how letting go could create peace. Regular reflection reinforces the habit of accepting reality and reduces reactive anger. Consistency is key. Every time you practice letting go of control and accepting reality, you reinforce neural pathways that support calm, intentional thinking. Over time, acceptance becomes automatic, and your mind remains unshaken, even in situations that previously provoked anger. Ultimately, releasing control and embracing reality empowers you to maintain inner peace regardless of circumstances. By observing your thoughts, visualizing calm responses, using affirmations, practicing mindfulness, maintaining physical relaxation, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you create a mental environment where anger and frustration have little influence. Acceptance allows you to navigate life with clarity, calmness, and resilience. You remain unbothered by others' actions, unshaken by unexpected events, and focused on what truly matters: your peace, intentionality, and well-being. Chapter 9. Responding instead of reacting. A key difference between people who remain calm and those who get angry easily is the ability to respond instead of reacting. Reaction is immediate, automatic, and driven by emotion. Response is intentional, conscious, and guided by awareness. Learning to respond rather than react allows you to stay unbothered and maintain control over your mind and emotions. Most people react without thinking, letting their feelings dictate words and actions. If someone insults, criticizes, or provokes, the mind jumps to judgment, anger, or defensiveness. These reactions often escalate conflict and increase stress. By responding intentionally, you choose calm, clarity, and constructive outcomes. The first step is awareness. Notice your initial emotional surge when triggered. Observe physical sensations, tight muscles, increased heart rate, shallow breathing. These signals tell you that you are entering a reactive state. Recognizing these signs creates a pause, giving you the opportunity to choose a different path. Pause before speaking or acting. Even a few seconds can prevent an automatic, emotional reaction. Take a deep breath, focus on your inner calm, and consider what response aligns with your values and desired outcome. The pause allows thought to guide action, rather than impulse. Visualization strengthens this skill. Picture yourself in a situation where you usually react with anger. See yourself noticing the trigger, taking a moment to pause, and responding calmly. Mentally rehearsing this process builds neural pathways that make intentional responses more natural in real life. Affirmations reinforce your ability to respond. Statements like, "I respond with calm and clarity," "I choose intention over impulse," or "My mind guides my reactions," train the subconscious to favor thoughtful responses instead of automatic anger. Repetition strengthens this habit. Communication plays a crucial role. Responding often involves choosing words that express yourself without escalating tension. Using calm, neutral language conveys your message while protecting your inner peace. Effective responses reduce conflict and maintain your mental stability. Mindfulness supports intentional responses. By observing your thoughts and emotions as they arise, you create space between stimulus and reaction. This awareness allows you to choose a response aligned with calmness and composure. Mindfulness ensures that actions are deliberate rather than reactive. Physical techniques help maintain composure. Relaxing tense muscles, maintaining steady breathing, and grounding yourself in the present moment reduce the intensity of emotional reactions. When your body is calm, your mind can respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. Consider John, who often argued with co-workers over small misunderstandings. By practicing awareness, pausing, and responding calmly, he transformed his interactions. Conflicts that previously escalated into anger became opportunities for constructive discussion. His thoughts and emotions remained unshaken, even under provocation. Consistency is essential. Each time you consciously respond instead of react, you strengthen your ability to remain calm in future situations. Over time, intentional responses become the default, reducing emotional volatility and increasing resilience. Self-compassion is important. You may slip into reactive behavior occasionally, and that's normal. Observe without judgment, acknowledge the lapse, and return to intentional responses. This gentle approach reinforces long-term mastery of emotional control. Ultimately, responding instead of reacting gives you freedom from being controlled by anger or others' behavior. By cultivating awareness, practicing pauses, visualizing calm responses, using affirmations, communicating effectively, maintaining physical calmness, and applying self-compassion, you build a mind capable of handling any situation with composure. Responding intentionally allows you to navigate life with clarity, peace, and control. You no longer let provocation dictate your emotions, and your thoughts guide your actions, creating a life where you remain unbothered, focused, and resilient. Chapter 10: Cultivating Patience and Tolerance. Patience and tolerance are essential qualities for maintaining calm and preventing anger. People who get easily irritated or upset often struggle with impatience, expecting immediate results or ideal behavior from others. Cultivating patience allows you to remain unbothered, even when circumstances are frustrating or people behave differently than you wish. Patience begins with understanding that life does not always go according to plan. Delays, mistakes, and misunderstandings are part of human experience. Accepting this reality reduces the frequency of frustration and allows you to navigate challenges with composure. Tolerance complements patience. Tolerance is the ability to endure others' behavior without letting it disturb your peace. Everyone has flaws, habits, and moods that may irritate you. By practicing tolerance, you create mental space to observe without reacting impulsively. Start by observing situations that test your patience. Notice moments when small annoyances, mistakes, or interruptions trigger frustration. Recognize that the emotional surge comes from your expectations rather than the situation itself. Awareness of this distinction is the first step toward cultivating patience. Visualization reinforces patience and tolerance. Imagine scenarios that usually provoke irritation: a slow cashier, a delayed appointment, or a critical coworker. See yourself remaining calm, breathing deeply, and observing the situation without judgment. Mentally rehearsing patience prepares your mind to respond with composure in real life. Affirmations support the development of patience and tolerance. Statements like, "I remain patient in all situations," "I tolerate differences without losing my calm," or "I choose understanding over frustration," train your mind to adopt these qualities naturally. Repetition strengthens these mental habits. Mindfulness aids in cultivating patience. By focusing on the present moment, you prevent your mind from rushing ahead, imagining problems, or reacting prematurely. Observe what is happening without judgment. Accept reality and respond intentionally. Mindfulness slows emotional reactions and fosters tolerance. Consider physical strategies. When irritation arises, take a deep breath, relax your muscles, and maintain a calm posture. Physical relaxation reinforces mental patience, preventing tension from escalating into anger. Small pauses in movement or speech give your mind time to process calmly. Journaling helps reinforce tolerance and patience. Write about situations where you felt impatient or frustrated. Reflect on what triggered the emotion, how you responded, and how you could handle similar events calmly in the future. Journaling strengthens self-awareness and provides insight into improving emotional control. Consistency is essential. Patience and tolerance are habits developed over time through repeated practice. Each time you remain calm in challenging situations, you reinforce mental pathways that support composure and resilience. Over weeks and months, patience becomes a default response rather than a conscious effort. Self-compassion strengthens these qualities. Understand that impatience may arise occasionally, and that's normal. Acknowledge your feelings, learn from them, and gently guide yourself back to calm. Compassion ensures that personal growth occurs without self-criticism or frustration. Ultimately, cultivating patience and tolerance allows you to navigate life without unnecessary anger. By observing triggers, visualizing calm responses, practicing affirmations, employing mindfulness, maintaining physical relaxation, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you create a mental environment where irritation loses its power. With patience and tolerance, you become resilient, composed, and unbothered by others' behavior or challenging situations. These qualities give you the freedom to focus on what truly matters: your peace, your choices, and your mental well-being. Chapter 11: Practicing Forgiveness to Release Anger. Holding on to anger and resentment gives power to others over your emotions. One of the most effective ways to remain unbothered is practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean excusing bad behavior or allowing harm to continue. It means freeing yourself from the burden of negative emotions that weigh down your mind and peace. Anger often arises when someone hurts, insults, or disappoints you. You replay the event in your mind, feeling justified in your resentment. But this mental loop strengthens negative emotions and keeps you trapped. Forgiveness breaks the cycle, allowing your mind to regain calm and clarity. Start by acknowledging your feelings honestly. Recognize the anger, frustration, or hurt that exists. Avoid suppressing emotions. Instead, observe them and understand their origin. Awareness of your emotional state is the first step toward releasing it. Next, consider the perspective of the other person. Understand that people act based on their experiences, knowledge, and current circumstances. Their behavior reflects them, not you. Shifting perspective reduces the intensity of your emotional response and allows room for forgiveness. Visualization aids forgiveness. Imagine the person who hurt you and picture releasing negative energy from your mind and body. See yourself letting go of resentment and replacing it with calmness and clarity. Rehearsing this mentally strengthens your ability to forgive in real-life situations. Affirmations reinforce forgiveness. Statements like "I release anger and resentment," "I choose peace over bitterness," or "Forgiveness frees me from negativity," help your subconscious adopt this empowering habit. Repetition ensures that forgiveness becomes natural, reducing emotional disturbances over time. Mindfulness supports forgiveness by keeping you present. Often, anger thrives on past events or imagined future conflicts. By focusing on the current moment, you prevent yourself from ruminating on old wounds, creating mental space for peace and composure. Physical practices also assist forgiveness. Tension in the body often accompanies anger and resentment. Deep breathing, muscle relaxation, or gentle movement releases physical stress, making it easier to cultivate emotional calm and forgiveness. Consider journaling your forgiveness process. Write about events that triggered anger, your feelings about them, and how you can release resentment. Reflect on lessons learned and ways to respond with calm in future situations. Journaling strengthens self-awareness and supports emotional growth. Consistency is crucial. Forgiveness is a practice, not a one-time act. Each time you consciously release resentment, you strengthen your ability to remain calm and unbothered. Over time, forgiveness becomes an automatic response, freeing you from mental and emotional turbulence. Self-compassion enhances forgiveness. Understand that it is natural to feel hurt and angry. Acknowledge your feelings, treat yourself kindly, and guide your mind toward release. Compassion toward yourself reinforces emotional resilience and inner peace. Ultimately, practicing forgiveness empowers you to reclaim your mental freedom. By observing your feelings, considering others' perspectives, visualizing release, using affirmations, practicing mindfulness, maintaining physical relaxation, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you build a mind capable of staying calm, unshaken, and unbothered. Forgiveness allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of anger. You gain clarity, mental stability, and emotional strength, navigating life with composure and intentionality, regardless of others' behavior. Chapter 12. Focusing on solutions instead of problems. One of the most effective ways to stay calm and avoid anger is to focus on solutions instead of problems. Many people dwell on what went wrong, replay conflicts, or fixate on negative situations. This mental pattern fuels frustration, irritation, and resentment. Shifting your focus to solutions allows you to take control and maintain your peace. Problems are a natural part of life. Challenges, setbacks, and conflicts will always exist, but your response to them determines whether they disturb your mind or not. Dwelling on difficulties keeps you stuck, while seeking solutions empowers you and reduces emotional disturbance. Start by noticing when your mind is trapped in problem-focused thinking. Recognize thoughts like "this is impossible," "why does this always happen to me," or "I can't handle this." These thoughts intensify frustration and anger. Awareness is the first step toward redirecting your focus. Next, consciously shift your attention to possible solutions. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? How can I respond constructively? Or what steps can I take to resolve this issue? Solution-oriented thinking creates a sense of control and reduces emotional reactivity. Visualization strengthens this practice. Imagine a challenging situation and picture yourself calmly analyzing the problem, identifying solutions, and taking effective action. Mentally rehearsing solution-focused thinking trains your mind to adopt this approach naturally in real life. Affirmations support solution-focused thinking. Statements like "I focus on solutions, not problems," "I respond constructively to challenges," or "I am capable of finding answers" calmly train your subconscious to prioritize proactive, empowering thoughts over reactive frustration. Mindfulness helps maintain focus on solutions. By observing your thoughts as they arise, you prevent rumination and emotional escalation. Staying present allows you to respond intentionally, considering actionable steps rather than dwelling on negative outcomes. Consider physical techniques that support solution-focused thinking. Deep breathing, relaxed posture, and grounded movements help reduce emotional tension, allowing the mind to think clearly. A calm body fosters constructive, solution-oriented thought. Journaling reinforces this approach. Write about problems you face, then brainstorm solutions calmly. Reflect on what worked, what could be improved, and how to apply these lessons in the future. Journaling strengthens clarity, awareness, and mental resilience. Consistency is essential. The more you practice focusing on solutions rather than problems, the more automatic this mindset becomes. Over time, challenges no longer provoke anger or frustration because your mind is oriented toward constructive action rather than dwelling on negativity. Self-compassion enhances this practice. Understand that mistakes, setbacks, or conflicts are part of growth. Accept imperfections, treat yourself kindly, and focus on positive action rather than self-criticism or anger. Ultimately, focusing on solutions rather than problems empowers you to maintain peace and control over your emotions. By observing thoughts, visualizing constructive responses, using affirmations, practicing mindfulness, maintaining physical calmness, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you build a mind capable of handling challenges calmly. This mindset allows you to navigate life without unnecessary anger or irritation. You remain unbothered by difficulties and maintain clarity, intentionality, and mental strength, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth and resilience. Chapter 13. Developing a positive mindset. A positive mindset is one of the most powerful tools to remain calm and unbothered. When your thoughts focus on negativity, criticism, or frustration, your emotions follow, making it easy to get angry or irritated. Cultivating optimism, gratitude, and constructive thinking strengthens your mental resilience and protects your peace. Most people allow external events or others' behavior to influence their mood. If something goes wrong, they complain, blame, or dwell on negative aspects. This negative mental pattern fuels anger and resentment. A positive mindset shifts the focus toward constructive, empowering thoughts, reducing the influence of provocation. Start by observing your thoughts. Notice recurring negative patterns, such as complaints about circumstances, self-criticism, or assumptions about others' intentions. Awareness is the first step in changing your mental habits and creating space for positivity. Gratitude is a cornerstone of a positive mindset. Take time daily to acknowledge what is going well in your life. Even small things, like a supportive friend, a meal you enjoy, or a peaceful moment, foster positivity. Gratitude shifts attention away from irritations and strengthens emotional stability. Visualization reinforces positivity. Imagine a challenging scenario and picture yourself maintaining calm, seeing the constructive aspects, and responding with composure. Visualizing success, calmness, and positive outcomes trains your brain to favor optimism even in real-life stresses. Affirmations support positive thinking. Statements like "I focus on the good in every situation," "I choose calmness and optimism," or "My mindset shapes my emotions" help train the subconscious mind to prioritize constructive thoughts over reactive negativity. Repeating these affirmations daily strengthens resilience. Mindfulness strengthens a positive mindset. Observing thoughts without judgment prevents negative spirals and fosters conscious thinking. By noticing when negativity arises, you can redirect attention towards solutions, gratitude, and calmness. Mindful awareness creates mental freedom and emotional balance. Consider physical practices. A calm body encourages a positive mind. Relaxing tense muscles, breathing deeply, and maintaining good posture support clarity, reduce stress, and enhance emotional control. The mind and body work together to reinforce composure and optimism. Journaling enhances positivity. Write about daily experiences, emphasizing accomplishments, progress, and things you are grateful for. Reflect on challenges and identify lessons learned rather than focusing on frustration. Journaling cultivates awareness and trains the mind to maintain a constructive outlook. Consistency is key. Developing a positive mindset takes regular practice. Each day that you consciously focus on optimism, gratitude, and constructive thinking, you strengthen neural pathways that support calmness and resilience. Over time, positivity becomes your default mode, reducing vulnerability to anger. Self-compassion complements positivity. Treat yourself with kindness when setbacks or provocations occur. Acknowledge mistakes, accept imperfections, and redirect focus to learning and growth. Compassion reinforces emotional stability and helps maintain an unbothered state. Ultimately, developing a positive mindset empowers you to navigate life without unnecessary anger or irritation. By observing thoughts, practicing gratitude, visualizing calm responses, using affirmations, staying mindful, maintaining physical relaxation, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you build mental resilience. A positive mindset allows you to remain unshaken by others' actions, focus on solutions instead of problems, and maintain clarity, peace, and control over your emotional world. Optimism becomes a shield against provocation, enabling you to live intentionally and calmly. Chapter 14: Strengthening Self-Discipline and Emotional Control. Self-discipline is the foundation of emotional control and the ability to remain unbothered by others. Without discipline, impulses, anger, and reactive behavior dominate, leaving you vulnerable to external influence. By strengthening self-discipline, you gain mastery over your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Many people allow situations, words, or behavior of others to dictate their emotions because they lack the discipline to pause and choose how to respond. Self-discipline empowers you to act intentionally rather than react automatically, preserving your mental peace and calmness. The first step is creating awareness of your triggers. Notice the people, situations, or events that provoke frustration, irritation, or anger. Understanding these triggers allows you to plan intentional responses and practice restraint rather than reacting impulsively. Develop routines that reinforce discipline. Simple practices such as daily meditation, breathing exercises, or mindfulness sessions strengthen mental control. Regularly exercising the mind conditions it to remain steady under provocation and resist impulsive reactions. Visualization helps build self-discipline. Imagine yourself in situations that typically trigger anger and see yourself responding calmly, thinking clearly, and maintaining composure. Practicing this mentally strengthens neural pathways that support emotional control in real-life scenarios. Affirmations reinforce discipline. Phrases like, "I am in control of my thoughts and emotions," "I act with calm and clarity," or "I choose peace over anger," train your subconscious to prioritize self-control over impulsivity. Repetition solidifies this mental habit. Mindfulness strengthens emotional control. By observing your thoughts and bodily sensations without judgment, you can notice the onset of anger and consciously guide your reaction. Mindfulness allows you to choose composure and intentionality rather than succumbing to automatic emotional responses. Physical strategies support discipline. When emotions rise, practicing deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or grounding techniques helps maintain calm. A relaxed body creates a stable platform for clear, intentional thinking. The mind and body work together to prevent reactive behavior. Consider journaling to reinforce discipline. Write about moments when you successfully maintained composure and instances where you reacted impulsively. Reflecting on these experiences increases awareness of patterns and provides insights for improvement, gradually strengthening emotional self-mastery. Consistency is crucial. Self-discipline develops over time through repeated practice. Every time you choose intentional action over reactive emotion, your capacity for emotional control grows. Eventually, remaining unbothered and composed becomes automatic rather than a conscious effort. Self-compassion complements discipline. Understand that lapses may occur, and that is part of growth. Gently acknowledge mistakes, learn from them, and return to intentional practice. Compassion ensures that emotional mastery is sustainable and non-judgmental. Ultimately, self-discipline allows you to maintain control over your mind and emotions regardless of external provocation. By observing triggers, establishing routines, visualizing calm responses, using affirmations, practicing mindfulness, maintaining physical relaxation, journaling, and applying self-compassion, you strengthen emotional resilience. With self-discipline, you become unshaken by others' behavior, resilient in the face of challenges, and intentional in your thoughts and actions. Emotional control becomes your default state, allowing you to navigate life with clarity, peace, and unwavering composure. Chapter 15. Living a life of calm and emotional freedom. The ultimate goal of all the strategies you've learned is to live a life where you are calm, composed, and unbothered by anyone. By now, you have explored observing thoughts, controlling emotions, practicing mindfulness, establishing boundaries, forgiving, focusing on solutions, cultivating positivity, and strengthening self-discipline. Chapter 15 is about bringing all these skills together to create lasting emotional freedom. Life will always present challenges. People will act unfairly. Situations will test your patience, and unexpected problems will arise. The difference between those who remain calm and those who get angry lies in how they manage their mind. Emotional freedom is achieved when your peace is not dependent on external circumstances. Start by integrating all the techniques you've practiced. Observe your thoughts and redirect negative patterns. Maintain mindfulness to stay present. Use visualization and affirmations to reinforce calm and composure. Set emotional boundaries and practice forgiveness when needed. Focus on solutions instead of problems and cultivate a positive mindset. Strengthen self-discipline to respond intentionally, not react impulsively. Consistency in daily practice is key. Emotional mastery is not a one-time achievement, it is a lifestyle. Each day that you practice awareness, patience, mindfulness, forgiveness, and self-discipline, you strengthen your capacity to remain unshaken. Over time, these behaviors become natural responses, ingrained in your mind and body. Consider real-life challenges as opportunities to test and reinforce your emotional skills. When provoked, consciously pause and choose how to respond. When frustrated, redirect thoughts to solutions and constructive action. When hurt, practice forgiveness and release negativity. Each successful application of these techniques strengthens your emotional resilience. Mindfulness remains central. Being fully present allows you to notice thoughts, emotions, and physical reactions before they escalate. This awareness ensures that you maintain calmness, clarity, and intentionality in every situation, preserving your mental peace. Self-compassion sustains your journey. Accept that you may occasionally feel anger or irritation. Treat yourself kindly, acknowledge your feelings, and return to mindful, intentional behavior. Compassion allows for growth without self-criticism, reinforcing emotional stability. Journaling can consolidate your progress. Reflect on moments where you remained calm, analyzed triggers, and responded with composure. Note what worked, what needs improvement, and how your emotional mastery grows over time. Journaling strengthens awareness, reinforces positive patterns, and tracks your journey toward emotional freedom. Physical practices continue to support your mental state. Relaxation, deep breathing, and mindful movement reduce tension and reinforce composure. A calm body supports a calm mind, enabling you to navigate life without letting emotions overwhelm you. Ultimately, living a life of calm and emotional freedom is about mastery over your mind. By consistently practicing the strategies you've learned, awareness, mindfulness, visualization, affirmations, emotional boundaries, forgiveness, solution-focused thinking, positivity, and self-discipline, you gain the ability to remain unbothered by anyone, regardless of circumstances. This freedom transforms your relationships, work, and personal life. You respond with clarity, act intentionally, and preserve your peace. Challenges no longer trigger anger. Provocation no longer disturbs your calm. You live intentionally, guided by your thoughts rather than others' actions, creating a life of serenity, resilience, and emotional empowerment. Living in calm and emotional freedom is not merely a skill, it is a choice you make every day. By committing to this practice, you gain control over your inner world, break free from reactive patterns, and experience life fully, with composure, clarity, and unshakable peace.